Peace, everyone. I am Joy Allen of Karmic Dynasty, sharing my ticker, my information right fast for y'all. Peace to all of you. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Today, I have a broadcast to share based on Fred Hampton and probably about slide 4. I have a PowerPoint presentation today. Probably about slide 4, I will discuss how I came about this topic today. Right now, primarily, I will share, I am in the process of cleaning out my folders before the end of the fraudulent Gregorian chronological timeline. So that's one reason how this came about. I'm not going to share too much background on the PowerPoint. That's another thing in how it came about. But about slide 4, I'll get into how I came about this. The timing of the video, that I will get into right now. In honor of Fred Hampton and all of his works, today, as you see in the banner, is December 4th. So today is the reason why I chose, and the time. I'm a little bit behind the time I planned to share this live, but 4 o'clock-ish, and there's some things you study for yourself, you read up on, you catch up on. And today, this is about Fred Hampton, and it's about his efforts, and not one that I've heard about. When it came across, I wasn't familiar with this part of his life, and if it's out there, it's not familiar. I'm unknown to me, so I'm here to share it. It's an honor to be able to share this information, and in part is to show how to weather through storms. And I'm going to share in brief one of the storms that Fred Hampton faced and how he countered it, how he got through the storm. And with storms, there's also what some of us know as fair weather friends. So I'm going to be spotlighting mostly what might look like, well, why is she on them people? These are the fair weather friends I'm going to talk about today. And Fred Hampton addressed them publicly. He addressed them publicly. So I will share the the PSA from Fred Hampton on his fair weather friends, because sometimes, from my experience, it's okay to shed light and share your experiences that you've had with your fair weather friends. So again, in honor of Frederick Allen Hampton Sr. today, a few moments of silence, gratitude. I appreciate you all for that moment. So at this time, I'm going to start this PowerPoint right now for you. Okay. Now, right now, the fair weather friends I spoke of, they are called the weathermen. These are the two main organizers of the weathermen. And I'm going to talk about who they are. So the Weather Underground Org, WUO. So anytime in the PowerPoint you see WUO, I'm speaking of the Weathermen Underground Organization. They were a radical left militant organization of the 1960s through sometime in the 70s. The organization's expressed political goal was to create a revolutionary party to overthrow American imperialism. The FBI described the WUO as a domestic terrorist group with revolutionary positions characterized by Black power. With revolutionary positions characterized by Black power in opposition to the Vietnam War. Let me pull this up. Originally called the Weathermen, the name was taken from a Bob Dylan song. Most infamously, its lyric, "You don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows," was the inspiration for the name of the radical left group, a breakaway from the Students for a Democratic Society. In this broadcast, I will be speaking, you will see in brief SDS. SDS is the acronym for what I just covered. So SDS and WO, we have those acronyms down. Right now, and I thought it was about 4 slides in, this is the slide. I'm going to share how I got to, how this information came to me. So about this time last year, I was doing the movie review on Soul, Disney Pixar movie, and Jamie Foxx was the lead character's voice. And while watching the movie, there was a scene, and this is a children's movie, so this is where my ears perked up. And there was a scene where the boat sailed in, and it had the tie-dye sails, and the song was playing that they mentioned, the Bob Dylan song. And in there, they were talking about drugs and other things being made in the basement of the drug type. And I was like, why they got this lyric in a children's movie? So I looked up the lyrics. I saw the Bob Dylan song in Wikipedia under Bob Dylan, and I also saw the reference to the Weathermen. So I was like, well, who is the Weathermen? So then I went on, look further into that. And then in looking at that, I came across Fred Hampton. And I'm like, what's Fred Hampton got to do with these people? And so, because their views, their positions were totally opposite. So in looking at all that, that's how I came about this video today, this presentation. So I'm going to continue with it now. Also, right quick. No, it'll come. It's coming. So I'm going to continue with this PowerPoint. In a 2007 study of legal opinions and briefs found Bob Dylan and the song was quoted by judges and lawyers more than any other songwriter. You don't need a weatherman was distinguished as the line most often cited. Now, Bill and Bernadine, they were the ones I shared up front. And I'm going to talk about them some more. These two right here, Bill and Bernadine. Now, this is them in the past. They was getting started. I'm going to tell y'all right now, they married today. Married. Just FYI. It'll come back up. So, Bill and Bernadine's forecast. Now, this is the Bill and Bernadine forecast because of this reason. These two had a plan, and they used people along the way to capture their agenda, to see it through. Even still today. And the events I'm going to share with you, you've heard them. If you're not, the saying goes, where you been under a rock? These two have an agenda. They have used people and other movements and other events to fuel their movement. And Fred Hampton was one. It was like, nah, y'all ain't. His intent was like, nah, y'all ain't using me. We not doing this. So I'm going to continue with them with this right here. So Bring the War Home. This was an event that happened in Chicago, and I'm going to share more on it later. They used this as a way to push their agenda. They had their target audience, but their target audience, they were not the people that they end up using. The Days of Rage was the Weathermen's, WUO's, first riot in October 1969 in Chicago, timed to coincide with the September 1969 trial of the Chicago 7. In 1970, the group issued a declaration of a state of war against the United States government. Now, there's a lot in this slide right here. The Days of Rage was their first riot. We us. You know Fred Hampton? I'm talking about the we us. Riots, y'all need to stop. For future reference, y'all need to stop. You just out because everybody else is out? Did you stop and have you looked at what you rioting for, what you're in the streets for? Have you thought about and looked at what it does to your family? How it affects your life in the community? There's agendas. There's people behind these things. They're not even real. It's just a way to control you and to get what they want. They're only using you. And I'm going to get to the proof. I'm going to outline, show you the agenda step by step, and how the people who riot you just a pawn in the game. They're using you. As the slide says, the weathermen, this was their first riot, which means there were more. If there's a first, that implies there were more. And it happened in Chicago. Chicago? Okay. And they timed it. They did this on purpose. See that word timed? They timed it to coincide with the trial of the Chicago 7. So you don't know, you probably like, what's the Chicago 7? Well, we're going to talk about that too. They set up this Days of Rage in Chicago. Had flyers and everything. You see it, bring the war home. To coincide and fit their agenda of the Chicago 7. We're going to look at the 7. Then they issued a declaration of a state of war against the United States government. We're gonna look at that too. I need y'all to pay attention to stuff y'all doing. Quit attending events just because your people in them there. Know what you're doing. Know what you're doing. And I'm saying this because you know what? There's a lot of people. When Fred Hampton, what happened to him, I'm sure they had plenty to say. I'm sure they had their markers and their poster boards out. And I wonder how many of them same people was part of this bring the war home agenda. How many of them were being allowed, the weathermen behind the scenes, to play them as pawns, but then gonna sit and cry about what happened to Fred Hampton. Y'all helped it happen. So if I ever hear anybody got something to say about what happened to Fred Hampton, that was so, y'all already know I got a poll for they ask a straight questionnaire. Where was you on October 8th through 11th? Where was you at? In September 1969, when the trial of the Chicago 7 was going on, where was you at? What was you doing? In 1970, when the weathermen declared a state of war against the United States government, where was you at? What was you doing? Oh, then I don't want to use you was, I'll check. I don't want to hear you. Don't talk to me about Fred Hampton. Continuing forward. This is the Chicago 7. So this is why Bill and Bernadine of the Weathermen and all they rest of their crew got together in Chicago to coincide with the trial of these 7 right here. Now, originally in this PowerPoint, I had their names there. Probably about 3 hours ago, I removed their names. Their names ain't important. You want to know these men and their names, you need to go study that for yourself. The Chicago 7 were 7 defendants charged by the United States federal government with conspiracy, crossing state lines with intent to incite a riot, and other charges related to anti-Vietnam War counterculture protests in Chicago during the August 1968 Democratic National Convention. These they clowning at the Democratic National Convention. They on trial, charged by the federal government. And then the rest of some of y'all's people back in the day, and y'all today, They got this saying that history repeats itself. His story repeats itself because he's writing it. Y'all allowing yourselves to be pawns. So this bring the war home. Oh, it translates to today's time. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. But there's timing. It ain't no coincidence. Timing. They at the Democratic National Convention clowning. Federal charges. And then we looking people out in the damn streets. So this is what it looked like at the Democratic Convention. On August 26, demonstrators gathered in Grant Park and climbed on a statue of General Logan on his horse, which led to a violent skirmish with police. David Dillinger told the members of the media, "We'll march with or without a permit." David Dillinger, who is he? Oh, he's one of these mugs on this screen right now. That's who David Dillinger is. Go check him out in your own time. David Dillinger said, "We gonna do what we do right here with or without y'all's permits," and that Grant Park was only a staging area for the march. They doing what they want to do. They got their agendas. They on trial, federal case, and then our people want to go march in the streets of Chicago. Oh, we about to stay tuned and see what that turned out to look like. In the meantime, this mug right here is Steady Pete. He's one of the Chicago 7-2. Got crap going on. August 28th, Abby Hoffman was arrested for writing the word fuck on his forehead. So what? That's what you got arrested for. Okay. After this rally, there are some people who said they knew about this whole thing. There's pictures and I don't know nothing about it till this PowerPoint presentation. I was putting it together. Abby don't give a fuck. He wrote fuck on his head and got arrested. Okay. After the rally at the Grant Park band shell, several thousand protesters attempted to march to the International Amphitheater, but were stopped in front of the Conrad Hilton Hotel, where the presidential candidates and campaigns were headquartered. By what the The Guardian's a newspaper. The Guardian described as a phalanx of National Guard armed with M1 rifles, backed by machine guns and jeeps with cages on top and barbed wire frames in front. They out here clowning. The National Guard out here. We got this picture. We on this. Y'all, I got pictures. Can't picture. I'll show you. You know what I mean? And look at her. Look at this. Look at this chick. She on the back of Abby's bike. Not giving no fuck. Okay. So the police violence extended to protesters, bystanders, reporters, and photographers. This scene ain't new. This the stuff that's going on today. When in people platforms, similar, something like where you viewing mine at, talk about this stuff like all the time, like it's entertainment. This is real life. When the cycle gonna stop? People on these platforms reporting this shit like it's brand new. And y'all sitting up gasping like y'all ain't know. They just telling you the same shit that been happening. It's recycled. Like they need a damn recycle bin out at the curb. Put all this shit in the fucking recycle bin and let it go. Y'all talking about some damn reparations? Go get your money back. Recycle this shit. Keep your money to yourself. Clowning. Craziness. Police pushed protesters through plate glass windows, then pursued them inside and beat them as they sprawled out on the broken glass. Television cameras recorded the police brutality. Familiar? Ain't nothing changed. Y'all just doing the same shit all the damn time. Ain't nothing changed. Television cameras recorded the police brutality while demonstrators chanted, "The whole world is watching. The whole world is watching." John Evans, this brother right here with this bandage on his head, with that notepad in his hand, he's the NBC at the time, an NBC news anchor. He was attacked by the police at the Chicago Convention in Lincoln Park on August 27th. He here interviewing a bloody man. This man, this brother, NBC news anchor, not the little local Guardian newspaper or the little local. He done got attacked by the police and he's still on his job. Brother, what? Do you, bruh? Do you, bruh? You done got beat up by the police, stopped and took some time to bandage yourself up, and still on the job, interviewing other people bloody. This guy he talking to done got beat up. So not only the people out there going protesting, it's people out here risking their lives just to get a news story. Instead of the public seeing this on the news, they could have possibly been watching the news section on his death and his funeral being planned. Then where his family at? What they got going on? What's wrong? What's what? The news more important, getting the news out more important than this brother's life. Getting the news story out before somebody else is more important than his family. Are y'all okay out there? Because it didn't stop with him. This still going down today. Are y'all okay? What's the problem? What's the issue? The hell? Moving forward. When the SDS collapsed in 1969, the WO stepped forward. The WO, one of their agendas, because they branched out from the SDS, one of their agendas was to just take over. So in their removal of themselves from meetings and stuff, the SDS wasn't strong enough. They had to. And plus the SDS was not doing the things the WO, the weathermen, wanted done. So they piggyback off of the strength and reputation and the works of the SDS to move their asses up to get this agenda pushed out. See how people move this fair weather friend. They just use you, your blood, sweat, your thought to get an organization set. They use you, push you to the side, and then come up with some other fuck shit afterwards. Now it's riots. And no concern for the people, really. You only concern for people with federal charges and other shit. We looking at it. They stepped forward, inspired by communist ideologies and embracing violence and crime as a way to protest the Vietnam War, racism, and other left-wing aims. Our intention is to disrupt the empire, to incapacitate it, to put pressure on the cracks, claimed the group's 1974 manifesto, Prairie Fire. The days of rage, this spot I'm looking for. This is what I want to share with y'all. Y'all see this image while I'm sharing comments? While y'all liking or not liking the video? While y'all sharing or not sharing the video? While you're motivating others or not from this video? Whether you're participating or not in this video. Looks like these brothers in this video in Chicago, Days of Rage, they liking what they doing. They sharing in the movement of turn over this car because that's a life changer. Motivated to get it turned over. They all participating. Y'all see that? They making it happen. Making it happen. Another point I'm making on this picture right here is this. Days of Rage. Now, up till this point, we only saw in this PowerPoint them in this presentation. Chess or checkers? Chess or checkers? These Tamahus behind the organization, like I said, y'all doing this in Chicago? Well, this is, to me, the face of Chicago right here. The brothers. See the fire in the background? Stuff on fire. This where they live at. This their neighborhood. This how they feel. And now I wonder how many of them know that the reason this going on because Bill and Bernadine concerned about the Chicago 7 and they federal charges. How many of them out there for that? Or how many of them out there because they jumping on the bandwagon? I wonder how many of them got beat up by the police, got killed by the hands of the police. And the whole time, Fred Hampton behind the scenes doing his work. He's working, being productive. Well, no, I wonder how many of them was thinking about Fred Hampton then. They wasn't even thinking about their own, they wasn't even thinking about their life, their families. So I know they wasn't thinking about Fred Hampton. So mofos like these motherfuckers, I don't want to hear your mouth about no Fred Hampton. Ever. Nothing. This your mindset? Karmic Dynasty don't want to hear it. This the no excuses on. The Days of Rage demonstrations were a series of violent actions. October 8th through 11th, 3 days. 3 whole days in 1969 in Chicago. Right there it say organized by the WUO. Bill and Bernadine organized this. Did the flyers have Bill and Bernadine's images on it? No. Did the flyer have Bill and Bernadine's name also on that mug? No. Do it. Now let's look at the flyer. The flyer don't say Bill and Bernadine. That flyer don't have the images on it. No. Check. No. Okay. And that flyer say bring the war home. That is false advertising. The world where I'm from, that's called false advertising. Why Bill and Bernadine ain't got their face on here? Because they already know you put your face on there if you want to. Guess who ain't showing up? Guess who ain't showing up to the party? The brothers ain't showing up. Now, there might be a brother or two who show up because they on some shit like don't give a fuck, like this chick on the back of Abby's bike. But for the most part, they pawns. They pawns. Don't be a pawn. Know where you at in life. Know where you at in life. Let me roll up back order. Where was I at? I'm way off. We all right. I'm way off. Madness. Don't be a pawn. We ain't got time for that. Days of Rage. Their goal, the weathermen, Bill and Bernadine, their goal was to create mass action to end U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. Okay, believe that if you want to. This resulted in city damages. City damages. So these people's houses, these people's stores, y'all know the story. Y'all know the story. And arrest of the weathermen. So speaking of moments of silence today, speaking of don't be a pawn, speaking of quit throwing tantrums, speaking of get your life right, speaking greetings again to everyone, speaking life to everyone, speaking the word, speaking productiveness in your life to everyone, speaking vitality to everyone, speaking peace, love, and light to all of us, everyone. How many people's funerals y'all trying to debate about on social media? How many brothers like Fred Hampton gotta go through such violent in life for y'all just have a place to debate? Ashenet, I appreciate you, goddess. As an effort to share what creativeness look like to y'all, being productive look like to y'all, I received this gift from Ashenet. It is a staff, beautiful wood carved, hand wood carved. And I told her, I said, you know what? I got this today actually from her. And I said, y'all know, you know what? I said, this, she was like, Joy Allen remind me of, I said, you know what? The timing is beautiful because I'm doing a Fred Hampton video today. I said, I'm gonna have this in my broadcast. It's beautiful. And it even got rings on the fingers. You know what I mean? This beautiful. But this is a work of art. It's just hand carved. It's wood. It's beautiful. Beautiful. And the tackiness is gone. The tackiness is gone. I need us to focus on our creative nature. Focus on being creators. Focus on that. Then you can do things like this. Ain't that beautiful? Beautiful. Coasters. Oh, and this, I got this. She gonna put the name in there for me. I don't remember what this piece is called. I don't remember what that's called. And she made me this also. Beautiful. Everything's beautiful. Appreciate it. Gifts from her. Appreciate it. And she put this together, pieced it together. I ain't gonna be doing all negatives on my broadcast. We having a positive moment. And she had to link these together. All some time, energy, and positiveness. This the energy I accept in my life. Green, adventuring moon, much appreciated. This energy, like her hands, this is her work. Her energy are in these pieces. I had to wear it today. I needed this in my life today. Again, the timing. Some of y'all, and if not you, you know somebody, they rather sit on that destruction, the negative energy, and sit on social media and debate all damn time. No, boo, I ain't got time for that. You will not see me debate nobody. Because I only have time for stuff like this. This a cone burner. This the top. Handmade. She layered it herself. Beautiful. It's so much more to see in person. Positive. I made a post for y'all. PSA right now on positive. I Facebook post I put on in inform, because that's how I felt yesterday. I will cut you out my life real quick, out my space real quick. No thoughts, no none. Cut. Facebook saw it as violence. against community standards. Shut my page down, however you say it, for 24 hours. I was like, for real, Facebook? For real? FR. For real? You know, shut my, okay, you know what we not going to do? I'm going to say what I want to say, when I want to say it, how I want to say it. I said that before. Ain't nobody going to tell me when or where what. Not me. So what I decided to do was not be one of them people who's reporting every time Facebook put them in Facebook jail. I don't know. Joy Allen, as my post says, will leave the Facebook page there for the record. I'm not posting on Facebook. My videos got my ticker information. So somebody is in there, they looking for my Facebook page for something. I'm leaving it there. Videos on Facebook. No more nothing from me on Facebook till they get some actual community standards. Get some community standards, and then I'll consider it. Most times I don't go back to what I once did. You get cut, you cut. And that's period. I don't have time for debates. I don't have time for somebody blocking what I'm doing. Bye. Y'all see Fred Hampton on Facebook talking about, oh man, they blocked my page for 24. The leaders don't do stuff like that. My message is there. You heard me or not. My message will continue on over here. Some of y'all need to learn growth and transition. My message will continue here and the other places that's listed on my Facebook page as I left a message for people who want to see me, know where to find me. I don't have time. Speaking of that, I need to edit my banner because it say Facebook Joy Allen in there. I'm telling y'all, this is an unscripted platform, and I'm rolling with where I'm at today. Rolling with it. I don't have time. And it's going to come a day, like I said before, where none of this even going to exist. Where y'all message? How y'all going to get your message out? Those of you interested in where your message going to be? When Instagram shut down, when Twitter shut down, when YouTube done, when Facebook done, like MySpace, all that other outdated stuff. What you going to do? What you going to do? You'll figure it out. I ain't got time. Back to Fred Hampton. I ain't got time. Stuff like this on the screen results in city damages. Oh, and the rest of the weathermen, but they all right. You know what I mean? The weathermen all right. They ain't even get what they supposed to get. And they in life, they gonna get it. They getting it every day. Moments. So now we're gonna look at some other stuff before we look at Fred Hampton. I'm going to share some more behind the scenes stuff on these folks. And so right now I got this up. It's called How Anti-Vietnam War Activists Stop Violent Protests from something and something and something. Anyway. All right, let me go up here. From hijacking their movement. Now down here, it says a good place to start is to consider the weathermen, the most prominent of the counterparts to the Black Bloc in our day. As proponents of violent street tactics, the weathermen capitalized on an aspect of the 60s counterculture that glorified violent revolution. Posters displaying romanticized images of some things, but Black Panthers is what I'm focused on now. Black Panthers in romanticized images displayed in posters with guns were plastered on many walls. The weathermen didn't just spout revolutionary rhetoric. One of their most memorable actions was what they proclaimed as the Days of Rage. One of their most memorable actions, they urged the people to join them in Chicago. Join us in Chicago, which means you got to come from where you at. You got to come from where you at and join us in Chicago. Join our faces in Chicago. That's what we're going to be, tearing up shit. Come join us out there. This ain't me. October 1969 to bring the war home. Yeah, turn over cars and people getting beat up in the streets going to bring the war home. They recruited extensively among white working class youths to come to the city. They recruited. Is y'all seeing it? This because this is what they doing today. This ain't new news. Don't be looking at me like this shit new. They recruited extensively among white working class youths to come to the city with helmets and such weapons as clubs, prepared to vandalize businesses and cars, as well as assault the police. Okay. During the Days of Rage, the weathermen did not attach themselves to a larger peaceful demonstration. Oh, they didn't want no peace. So they gonna bring war to the streets of Chicago, but at the same time advocating for bring the war home. The hell? They were on their own. So the action provides a great case study about the feasibility of violent street tactics. Violent street tactics. For starters, they discovered that it was hard to find recruits for their violent street army. You can't find no recruits. You recruiting amongst the white working class youths. That's why you only got about 300 people showed up. And they found it harder to enlist support for their actions, even among those who were friendly with them politically. In fact, Fred Hampton, the leader of the Black Panther Party in Chicago, publicly denounced the Weathermen Group's action, fearing it would turn off potential allies and lead to intensified police repression. This is quote. We're going to hear it. Just madness. Fred Hampton doing his part. These mugs out in the streets protesting, tearing up cars, vandalizing, madness. This next thing I'm playing this video. Fred Hampton publicly saying, look, I'm not associated with these people, because one time he was associated with them. And they was using what was going on with him, as they continue to do, as a reason to, let's wage war on the United States government. This how y'all feel? You're going to use this man in his position. I'm wondering, like, how many people back in the day knew about the weatherman? Not too many. That's why they only had 300 people show up. They rose up off the backs of the SDS group. And these are college students. That's how Fred Hampton came across their asses. On campus. From my study, that's how. But seeing these evil creatures climb up and be destructive, he was like, oh no, I need to separate me and the Black Panthers from this, because this ain't what we about. So right here, he about to talk about them. He gonna talk about them. And we hear him out. Hold on.
Fred, where does the Black Panther Party stand concerning the Weathermen, the SDS?
We stand way back. from the SDS and the weatherman, because we believe that the weatherman action is two actions. It's RIM 2 and weatherman. We think they call them both national action. We think that RIM 2 is national action, weatherman is national reaction. We think it is anarchistic, opportunistic, individualistic, it's chauvinistic, it's customistic, and that's the bad part about it. It's customistic in that its leaders take people into situations where the people can be massacred, and they call that revolution. And it's nothing but child's play, it's folly, and it's criminal because people can be hurt. We say that they're doing exactly what the pigs want them to do. When they take people down and just do nothing, play around, and the pigs are prepared for this, and they'll wipe all of those young people out. We think these people may be sincere, but they're misguided, they're muddleheads, and they're scatterbrains. The only way we can show them is to criticize them like we're doing right now, and then leave from here and go to the federal building and have a demonstration that's to educate, a demonstration that it is disciplined and organized, And that's what we're going to have to do, and let them see the examples.
Tell me why you feel the approach of the SDS weatherman is wrong.
I feel it is wrong, just as I said before.
No, don't tell me just you said before. That's why I asked you again. Just answer straight, just in case we use this part.
I feel that it's
wrong. Let me ask you again.
All right, first of all, when I first heard this, I was like, hold on, how you gonna tell me what I can't say? See how they try to control the narrative? This brother couldn't, he did not speak it how it was coming out of him. He regrouped his wording. Because this clown want to control. I guess they want to cut too much tape and have to rewind. So let me just cut him right here. Don't even get off on them other, and just answer me this. Talk and say it this way. I was like, wow, for real? This how you going to try? Ran that conversation. I didn't even see the purpose of having to say that to Fred Hampton. To me, that's a form of disrespect. You're going to ask this man a question, but then you're going to tell him how to answer it. Back to this video.
Why do you feel that the approach of the SDS weatherman is the wrong approach?
I feel that it's wrong because it's pig action. You see, they're doing exactly what the pigs want them to do. They're leading people into a situation where it's an astronomical situation, too great for the people to deal with. It's a situation where you got a bunch of mechanical pigs with 357 Magnums and shotguns and mechanical mace and all that type of thing. And then they're talking about they're going to carry on a revolutionary struggle. That's not revolution. It's insanity. It's madness. It's nostalgia, and it's a massacre. That's what it's potential massacre. That's what it is. And we don't support that because we've said all power to the people. All the power is manifested in the people. We don't have any people whose lives we believe that should be thrown away.
Has the weatherman SDS tried to get you to go on their side? Have you met with them, and what happened?
We met with the weatherman faction of SDS several times. We've had ideological struggles and we have ideological differences. So what we did was we had the other faction of SDS that agreed with the Black Panther Party called for an alternate action, a way of discipline, action not to provoke pigs, an action not to talk about setting up confrontations with the pigs, because the people are not ready for confrontation. These confrontations that they have are premature. They're politically premature, and they're wrong because they commit people in a situation which they're not anywhere prepared for.
Well, why do you think the weatherman SDS tried to link the Black Panther Party to its movement?
I don't know if it was actually the weathermen of SDS. I'd have to say that it was the establishment press that is nothing but a tool of Warden Nixon's machine. We call him Warden Nixon because the whole world is a penitentiary, and he's just a warden of the whole world. And you see, these people are just an arm he uses for fascist oppression, And I think that these fascist news media might have did that.
Now, briefly, how would you sum up what the weatherman SDS is trying to do and what you think of what they're trying to do?
I'd say that basically they believe that white people need to learn how to struggle, that they believe that these white workers need to learn how to struggle through confrontations. I'd have to.
He said the white people need to learn how to struggle. Hold on. So the struggle ain't real. The struggle ain't real. They need to learn. He know what he's talking about. They need to learn how to struggle. Damn sense.
Basically, I believe that this is incorrect. I believe the white workers have been struggling. They're some of the most violent people in the world. I believe that what they need is they need a redirection in their ideology and in their politics. They need to know who to struggle against. The workers need to start to begin to learn that their job is to struggle against the bosses. And until they do this, then struggle is incorrect. It's like no struggle at all. We say that if you don't struggle correctly, you shouldn't struggle. But you should struggle. We said dare to struggle and you dare to win. Dare not to struggle and you don't deserve the win. But we have to struggle properly.
What about the special
Okay, I'm gonna move forward right quick. We'll come back to that. I can't play too much of that at one time. We're going on. So here, Fred Hampton is pictured, chairman of the Illinois Black Panther Party, publicly denounced, as I've spoken on already, and you heard his own words, publicly. So I seen it in a Wikipedia article, but I looked further and I saw the video and I hear this man, Fred Hampton, the chairman, saying it for himself. So I didn't have to go with Wikipedia and what they said. I heard his own words. He denounced the weathermen. They was wanting to use him too for their agenda. Madness. Let this brother be. He apparently had enough going on already. Apparently. Publicly denounced the weathermen's actions, fearing it would turn off potential allies and lead to intensified police repression. October 9th, Fred stated, "We believe that the weathermen's action is anarchist, opportunistic, individualistic, chauvinistic, and Custeristic," referring to General George Custer's suicidal last stand. It's child's play. It's folly. The weatherman faction, he continued, was leading people into a confrontation they're not prepared for. Fred Hampton distanced himself and the Black Panther Party from the weathermen, implying that connection, that relationship that was there. He removed himself and the Black Panther Party's affiliation with that group. He said they were leading the people into a confrontation they're not prepared for it. Makes me think of Martin Luther King and him realizing he was sending his people into a burning building. These leaders, they put their best foot forward, I think, their best intentions. And sometimes us leaders, we got to back up and take things in another direction. We got to back up. You know, you're in your car and you're going around, you got to reverse, back up, and go around another way. I'm sure people talked about Fred Hampton for backing up, just like they talked about Martin Luther King Jr. for backing up. How these two are similar also is, you notice when they both decide to back up, that's when the madness for real came. Both of them ain't even here with us no more. Not for physical health ailments and conditions, not of natural conditions, but because they decide to back up, retract statements, make new statements, make another type stand for the people, and turn things around. Because they was big enough to say, oh, I made a mistake right there. So now he's a problem. Now he's a problem. December 1969, the Chicago Police Department and the FBI conducted a raid on Fred Hampton's home. Hampton and Mark Clark were killed, and 4 of the 7 other people in the home were wounded. The survivors were charged with assault and attempted murder. The police claimed self-defense. Activists and newspaper reporters presented visual evidence, while a FBI ballistics expert showed that the sleeping Panthers weren't resisting arrest. The Panthers fired only 1 shot, and the police fired 100 plus, more than 100 shots into the home. The charges were later dropped, and the families won a $1.8 million settlement from the government. I know some people went crazy when this happened. Rage. Days of rage. The days of rage went beyond the 3-day period in Chicago that the weathermen timed and organized in support of the Chicago 7. Rage for what? Brothers and sisters raging. Again, I wonder how many of them was thinking back to that day when they was crying and mourning for Fred Hampton. How many of them knew that it was Bill and Bernadine's faces? How many of them was thinking about these faces when they was crying for Fred Hampton? How many of you even knew of these clowns? Just destructive creatures. And you play along with it when you do that stuff without even knowing, even caring to look at why you're doing what you're doing. You don't know why something's going on? Be your ass still. You don't know why you want to go to the store and go buy a marker, a Sharpie, and some poster boards. Be your ass still. But you sit up on the damn Facebook and social media and YouTube post, Twitter, Instagram, etc., and go back and forth about what happened. Do you really know what happened? No. Because you only sharing what the media told you, which is false. The only people that know back in this time and moment what happened in this house are the people who was in that house. Even this right here, what I have, I'm sharing it with you because the media told it to me. Y'all need to stop. But do what you do. Do what you do. Do what you do. But it'd be great if we did more productive type items. Like Fred Hampton. If we did less folly. His word was folly towards the weathermen. If we did less folly type shit, like going on platforms and looking for entertainment purposes only. You worry about the world's drama. What about the drama in your world? What your household look like? What do you look like? How are you taking care of the drama inside of yourself? Oh, by going on the entertainment platforms and tuning into other people's drama. That helps you cope with your drama. Do you, boo? Do you? It was discovered in 1971 that Hampton had been targeted by the FBI's COINTELPRO. Intelligence Pro. program. True to Dorn's words, Dorn, the weatherman, this single event in the continuing string of public killings of Black leaders, continuing string of public killings, public, not private, killings, not upliftment of Black leaders, not no other leaders, or no other people. In the continuing string of Black killings of Black leaders of any political stripe was the trigger. This single event was the trigger. Fred Hampton's assassination was the trigger that pushed a large number of the weathermen and other students who had just attended the last national convention months earlier to go underground. This triggered them to go underground and develop its logistical support network nationally. Agendas rolling through. Their agenda is rolling through. This is Bill and Bernadine's forecast. Fred Hampton's fair weather friends. The forecast. The plan. The timed events. Oh, it's rolling through. Gone. Let's listen to some more Fred Hampton right quick before we talk about do anything else.
Approach of weatherman, which seems to be violence.
Well, you see, I don't think it's really violence, you know what I mean? I think it's just a lot of folly, it's a lot of child's play. I think that to have violence, you've got to be able to cope with violence, you know what I mean? And that's what the Black Panther Party, a lot of people say we're violent. We're a self-defense organization that believes that the people should be educated what's going on. Yes, we do defend our offices and we do defend our homes. This is a constitutional right. Everybody has, there's nothing funny about that. The only reason they get mad at the Black Panther Party when they do it is for the simple reason that we're political. And they don't want to admit this. There are a lot of young organizations around, but we're a political organization. We're an organization that understands that politics is nothing but war without bloodshed, and war is nothing but politics with bloodshed. That it's just like you stretch something and it goes, you can stretch things, they'll go into being another thing. If you stretch politics so long, it'll be war. And that's where we're at.
Well, then why do you feel it's so important for the Black Panther Party to disavow any real link with the Weatherman SDS?
I think it's important because there are a lot of people that watch the Black Panther Party for examples. They observe us and participate with us. And if we can be connected up with this, then it would be very unadvantageous to the people, and it would be very unadvantageous to the struggle, in that people that claim to be revolutionary would be going down roads that they think might be revolution, but in fact they're not roads of revolution. They'll be going east when their intentions are going west. And also it's important because the chairman Bobby Seale is in town, and he's being tried by this fascist judge Adolf Hitler Hoffman, you know, and he's being tried without a lawyer. And we've got to bring all of the attention and focus on this trial that we possibly can, so that people can understand that these people are more capable of building gas chambers than Hitler ever was capable of building gas chambers. And we're going to have to get together. We're going to have some anti-gas chamber marches, and some anti-fascism marches, and some anti-Hitler Hoffman marches, and some anti-Mussolini Attorney General Mitchell marches, and some anti-Daley and some anti-Hammerhead marches. These are the things we're going to have to do. The people need to be educated. If they're educated, we can resist and we can stop this fascism.
Okay. All right. Thanks for giving us the second shot. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
May 21st, 1970. A declaration of war from the weathermen was issued, promising to attack, a symbol of institution of American injustice. My bad. They declared their war. That's what they wanted. They issued a promised attack of the symbol or institution of American injustice. within 2 weeks they was coming. So on June 9th, 1970, their first publicly acknowledged bombing. Hold on. First publicly acknowledged bombing, which implies this was the first public. To imply public is to hear public is to imply private. There were some other bombings, and they reason for bombing people and having these violent moments was because, oh, Fred Hampton was assassinated. Fred Hampton ain't have nothing to do with y'all. He publicly got rid of y'all fair weather friends. Well, you want to still use his name and his acts and him as a reason to go be bombing places. And now y'all get the public recognition because Fred Hampton linked to it. So their first publicly acknowledged bombing occurred at the New York City police station, saying it was an outraged response to the assassination of the Soledad brother, George Jackson, who had recently been killed by prison guards in an escape attempt. The FBI placed the weathermen on the 10 most wanted list by the end of 1970. So, I read this here about Jackson. So, up here, for if you don't know, this Wikipedia, these were 3 brothers, 3 African-American inmates charged with the murder of a white prison guard in California. These were the 3. George Jackson was one. They were alleged to have murdered Mills in retaliation for the shooting deaths of 3 black prisoners during a prison fight in the exercise yard 3 days prior by another guard. I think it was something else in here I wanted to look at. But this in 1970, it was just like these people just using whatever to be setting bombs and stuff. Anyway, do I want to who is Bingham? All right, I'm gonna leave this alone. All right, back to this here. Back to my PowerPoint. All right, next. The most wanted list. These them. Bill Ayers, but it say William. His name William Ayers. He's on the far left. Then the rest of them down here on the far right is Bernadine Dorn. They're the 2 that were shown in the front of the PowerPoint. They still around today. They married. They got other activities and shits going on. Y'all familiar with some of them. They just using the people to push their agenda. Starting in the summer 1970, FBI most wanted pick posters featured images of the weathermen and dozen others. They were hung prominently in every post office in the United States, and this continued for years. This them. Oh, Black Lives Matter. Is that what that sign? That's what that. Hold on. Black Lives Matter. How we start talking about black? Why we talk? Are we gonna talk about Black Lives Matter? I've never talked about Black Lives Matter on Karmic Dynasty. I'm not gonna talk about it today neither. I've already talked about it like today. The whole Fred Hampton Days of Rage, these 2 right here, that was the 1960s and 70s version of Black Lives Matter. They the faces behind Black Lives Matter. Study it for yourself. So these people then got hooked up and got crap going on in the streets of Chicago. then got linked up with Fred Hampton and the Black Panthers. He backed up off them, away from them. They doing the same stuff that Black Lives Matter, they call it today, recent times. Ain't nobody gonna neither talk to me about Fred Hampton and such a disrespect and what happened to him. Oh, that's so bad. It's a shame what happened to Fred Hampton. If you involved with Black Lives Matter, then your words for Fred Hampton is false. You ain't for real. You don't mean that. You don't mean that. There's no way you associate yourself with Black Lives Matter and you won't stand up talking about some Black Panther Party or anything associated with that and or Fred Hampton. None. You really just Bill and Bernadette cheerleaders. You support this madness. You support what happened to Fred Hampton. They say in this quote, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Bill. Either way, we've known that our job, these are two white people in this picture. Tell me who's white. They got your white in their quote. I'm going to say white today. We've known that our job is to lead white kids into armed revolution. White kids, that's their job. We never intended to spend the next 5 to 25 years of our lives in jail. Never that. We've been trying to show how it is possible to overcome frustration and impotence that comes from trying to reform this system. So you do that by wanting to arm white kids and teach them how to be revolutionaries. But then you when you had to spend 5 to 25 years in jail. Could have been death. What you think gonna happen to the little white kids you still out there recruiting today? You trying to show them how to overcome frustration, but you arming them. And you bombing police stations. Okay. Sure. Black Lives Matter. Yep. Stand up. Continued quote. Protests and marches don't do it. Revolutionary violence is the only way. It was Fred Hampton's death that prompted the weatherman to declare war on the United States government. This is what Bill and Bernadine got to say. It was Fred Hampton's death that prompted us to declare war on the United States government. Are we sure about that? It wasn't things like the the Chicago 7? They ain't the reason you declare war on the United States government. You gonna declare war. Hold on. You arming white kids. You arming white kids. Where is it at? You arming white kids. And you're teaching them. You arming white kids. You teach them to be revolutionaries. You're setting up and timing Chicago riots to coincide with the timing of these 7 people's trial, federal trial. But it take Fred Hampton to die for you to declare war on the United States government. Okay. So you did it for the people. Okay. That's a damn lie. Fred Hampton was used as an opportunity. His death was an opportunity for y'all to push your agenda publicly. Outright. Then y'all feel like the days in Chicago can continue. You can get some more of us people behind you, more than 300 to join you. But you mostly recruiting white kids. But you know the numbers come when we show up. When we involved, that's when the numbers come. Economically, that's us. Y'all need to watch your backs. Y'all need to do something better. Look forward and work on being productive. Cut the crap. That'd be great. It was Fred Hampton's death that prompted the weathermen to declare war on the United States government. We felt that. We, in our feelings now, we felt that the murder of Fred required us to be more grave, more serious, more determined to raise the stakes and not just be the white people. We don't want to be the white people who wrung our hands when black people were being murdered. Okay. Wasn't no black people being murdered before Fred Hampton? You was wringing your hands then. You was wringing your... Hi, Lulu. Hi to all my empresses and emperors out there. Hi, peace. I love all of you. The future. With the future here, this is my future right here. This is my future right here. Let me take them off the screen because I'm going to show y'all. Some of y'all future look like this picture right here. The future went from Fred Hampton being murdered to these next three, as well as many others. And y'all attaching yourselves to things like Black Lives Matter. That's y'all future. Because again, nobody got harmed. No damage came until Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton wasn't the first. And he apparently is not the last. But y'all want to say this the reason y'all declared war. You're in your feelings. So now you require to be more grave, more serious. So more grave, more serious, more determined to raise the stakes and not be the white people who wrung your hands when black people's being murdered results into Black Lives Matter. I don't know. I'm not even going to say no more. I don't even know how else to say what I'm saying. I'm not going to say it no more. So now we look at the agenda. There's phases to the weathermen, these fair weather friends, and they set up. So they looking all innocent. We're student protesters. We're college campus making poster boards and looking like arts and crafts time over here with our markers and Sharpies. Oh, we gonna stand up because the war in Vietnam need to stop. So let's take it to the streets of Chicago. Oh, Fred Hampton got what? Oh no, we bombing police. George Jackson and them got where? I mean, y'all ain't renting about Chicago 7. That's y'all agenda. Y'all pushing at the time. Which agendas y'all pushing? Y'all gonna keep pushing. They keep using these same phases. They phases ain't changed. The agenda has not changed. The people who are being harmed and killed and endangered, that's the only thing that's changing. And the style of fashion and the music and the way y'all spend y'all money. That's the only thing that's changing. We about to look at these phases and then we almost done. We've been getting out of here. The agenda ain't changing though. Phase 1. The days of rage. There is little serious violence, but this is the phase when verbal violence escalates. People belonging to various groups demonize their enemies and increasingly call for their destruction. This is when the boundaries are established and fault lines deepen. The issues motivating the weathermen were the opposition to the Vietnam War, draft resistance, oppression of African Americans, poverty, and corporate greed, the rage boils over and it becomes acceptable to kill other people if they are on the other side of the barricades. Phase 2. These are the triggers. These are specific, highly symbolic events that are needed to translate the rage into action. The most frequent triggers are sacrificial victims. Most frequent triggers are sacrificial victims. Sacrificial victims. Sacrificial victims. What is a sacrificial victim? Oh, Fred Hampton, sacrificial victim. Okay. The triggering event that transformed the Weathermen into a terrorist organization was the extrajudicial execution murder of Fred Hampton. This was the triggering event that transformed Bill and Bernardine and them into the terrorists. Fred Hampton's extrajudicial execution murder. Hampton became a martyr for the anti-racism movement, and his murder persuaded the Weathermen to go underground. Phase 3. Use the brother. The brother didn't try to, he didn't separate. They used him, even in his death. While people in the streets and in his home and in his family honoring him and remembering him, these white people pushing their agenda, still using him. Man they ain't even had the funeral yet. And these people thinking of ways to use his name and who he is to go underground. Goodness. The spiral of violence, phase 3. The first victims must be avenged. They must be avenged, which creates more martyrs and triggers a chain of revenge and counter-revenge. This dynamic of revenge and counter-revenge is very similar to how tribal warfare in small-scale societies develops. Final phase. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Burnout, phase 4. Eventually, most people get tired or even sick of incessant and unproductive violence. They get sick of it. The most violent individuals are killed off or imprisoned or lose support. Phase 4 is when the rage subsides. As the rage goes away, violence declines, and so does the need to avenge it. The critical change is in the social mood of the majority of the population who turn against violence. The Weathermen was partly decimated, mostly of its leaders, like Bernardine Dorn and William Bill Ayers. Like Bernardine and Bill, they were not killed or imprisoned. They simply gave up after seeing the futility of further violence. They gave up. They just simply gave up. Used this man. Then gonna give up. So it appears. They didn't give up. They just gave up on that part. That agenda is over for those people at that time. Because again, Black Lives Matter. That's their agenda also. That's their movement also. And there's going to be another one and another one. There's been another one and another one and another one and another one. And they pass this on. It's generational inheritance. They pass it on. Like how y'all pass some of y'all pass on to y'all's generational wealth is diabetes, high blood pressure, debt, drama, social media accounts, how to like a video, how to subscribe to a drama entertainment only video, how to sit still and listen to that for 2 hours, but not sit still and listen to some growth and development for an hour and a half. Can't even give the people 20 minutes. If it ain't somebody on stage clowning, showing their ass, entertaining you, you can't do it. But these people is passing the generational wealth of setting up agendas that includes 4 phases, that includes people like us dying and them bombing shit. So on a day like today, this is a review. This on the Google. When I typed in Fred Hampton name, this what came up on a day like today. On this day, 52 years ago, Fred Hampton was murdered by police in his bed. He was 21 years old. I'm about to say ain't no 21-year-olds in this audience today. But it's apparently some in here that is under 21. Because they say stuff like mama, and I'm the mama. They under 21. This is a young man making moves. What y'all 21-year-old young men doing today? What they doing? If they over 21, what was they doing when they was 21? What have they done since they've been 21? They not yet 21. What will they be doing when they're 21? What you gonna be doing? Attending their funeral? Question mark. On this day, 1969, Chicago police officers assassinated Black Panther Party leaders Fred Hampton and Mark Clark by firing over 90 bullets during a pre-dawn apartment raid. To overcome racial inequality, we must confront our history. History. There's white people's word. They can look at their history. Y'all need to look at your story. What's your story say? To overcome what, you must confront what in your story. See, you say our history, just take out the high, take out the pleasantries, take out the pleasantries. It says to overcome racial inequality, we must confront our story. What's your story? Black Panther leader Fred Hampton, assassinated on this day in 1969, explains how the ruling class uses racism to exploit working people, etc., etc., etc. So, ending this broadcast today with a quote from Fred Hampton himself: "You can kill a revolutionary, but you can never kill the revolution." I am Joy Allen of Karmic Dynasty. I appreciate you all being here today. In the words of Fred Hampton, you heard it from him. Peace and love to everyone.